Guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we'll discuss about legal aspects of business, chapter 6, deduction from wages. It comes under section 7, and this video will discuss about meaning of deduction and maximum amount of deduction, and we'll see what are the kinds of deductions in detail in this video. If you're seeing this video for the first time, do subscribe my channel for more videos. So the meaning of deduction, it comes under section 7.1. It provides that notwithstanding the provisions the Railway Act 1989, the wages of an employed person shall be paid to him without deductions of any kind except those authorized by or under this act. The Payment of Wages Act provides that every payment made by the employed person to the employer or his agent shall, for the purpose of this act, be deemed to be a deduction from wages. Any loss of wages resulting from the imposition for good and sufficient cause upon a person employed for any of the following penalties, namely the withholding of increment of promotion, including the stoppage of an increment at an efficiency bar, the reduction to a lower post or time scale or to a lower stage in a time scale. And third one is suspension. Shall not be deemed to be a deduction from wages in any case where the rules framed by the employer for the imposition of any such penalty or in conformity with the requirements, if any, which may be specified in this behalf by the appropriate governments by notification in the official gazette. We'll see what is the maximum amount of deduction under this act. Section 70 provides, that is section 7 under subsection 3, it provides that notwithstanding anything contained in this act, the total amount of deductions which may be made under subsection 2 in any wage period from the wages of any employed person shall not exceed. In cases where such deductions are wholly or partly made of payments to cooperative societies under class J of subsection 2 and 75% of such wages, and in any other case 50% of such wages, it is provided that where the total deduction authorized under subsection 2 exceeds 75% or, as the case may be, 50% of the wages, the excess may be recovered in such manner as may be prescribed. And next we are going to see the provisions or kind of deductions comes under this act. Deductions from wages of an employed person shall be made only in accordance with the provisions of this act and may be following kinds. First one is fines. It comes under section 8. It provides that no fine shall be imposed on any employed person save in respect of such acts and omissions on his part of as the employer, with the previous approval of the appropriate government or of the prescribed authority may have specified by notice under subsection 2. Deductions for absence from duty. It comes under section 9. It permits deductions for absence from duty, while section 9 lays down certain rules in this respect. That is, the deductions may be made only on account of the absence of the employed person from the place or places where by the terms of his employment he is required to work. And the amount of such deduction shall in no case bear to the wages payable to the employed person in respect of the wage period for which the deduction is made a large proportion than the period of which he was absent. And third one is deductions for damage or loss. It comes under section 10. It provides that a deduction for damage to loss of goods expressly entrusted to the employed person for custody, or for loss of money for which he is required to account where such damage or loss is directly attributable to his neglect or default. Deductions for house accommodation. It comes under section 7 under subsection 2D. It permits deduction for house accommodation supplied by the employer or the government or any housing board set up under any law for a time being in force, or any other authority engaged in the business of subsidizing house accommodation which may be specified in the official gazette. And next one is deductions for amenities and services. It permits deductions for such amenities and services supplied by the employer as the appropriate government or any officer specified by it on the behalf may by general law special order authorized. Deductions for recovery of advances. It permits deductions for recovery of advances of whatever nature, including advances for traveling allowance or conveyance allowance and the interest due in respect thereof for adjustment of overpayments of wages. Section 12 imposes such conditions for the deduction of recovery of advances. The recovery of advance of money given before employment began shall be made from the first payment of wages in respect of a complete wage period. Recovery of an advance of money given after employment begun shall be subject to such conditions as the appropriate government may impose, and recovery of advances of wages not already earned shall be subject to any rules made by appropriate government relating to the extent to which such advances may be given and the installments by which they may be recovered. And seventh one is deduction for recovery of loans made from any fund. It permits deductions for recovery of loans made from any fund constituted for the welfare of labor in accordance with the rules approved by the appropriate government and the interest due in respect thereof. Deductions of recovery of loans. It authorizes deductions for recovery of loans granted for house building or other purposes approved by the appropriate government and the interest due in respect thereof. Deductions for income tax. It permits deductions for income tax payable by employed person. The amount of tax payable by a particular person is governed by the provisions of the Income Tax Act, and the deductions would be extent of the tax payable. Deductions required to be made by order of a court. It comes under section 7(2)(h), provides that deductions are required to be made by order of a court or other authority competent to make such order. Deductions for Provident Fund. It permits deductions for subscriptions to any Provident Fund or for repayment of advances taken from any Provident Fund to which the Provident Funds Act 1925 applies, or any recognized Provident Fund as defined in section 238 of Income Tax Act. Deductions for payment to cooperative societies. The authorizes the deductions for payments to cooperative societies approved by the appropriate government or any officer specified by it in this behalf, or to a scheme of insurance maintained by the Indian Post Office. And deductions with the consent of employed person. It permits deductions made with the written authorization of the persons employed for payment of any premium on his life insurance corporation policy to the LIC of India established under the Act 1956. Deductions for welfare fund. It provides that deductions made with the written authorization of the employed person for the payment of his contribution to any fund constituted by the employer or trade union registered under the Trade Union Acts 1926. Deductions for trade union membership fees. It permits deductions for payment for the fees payable by the employed person for membership of any trade union registered under the Trade Union Act 1926, provided that employed person authorizes the deduction in writing. Deduction for fidelity guarantee bonds. Authorizes deductions for payment of insurance premium on fidelity guarantee bonds. Deductions for recovery of losses sustained by a railway administration. It comes under section 2M, authorizes deduction for recovery of losses sustained by a railway administration on account of acceptance by the employed person of counterfeit or base coins, or deduction of losses caused due to of proper collection charges. It permits deductions for recovery of losses sustained by a railway administration on account of the failure of the employed person to invoice. Deductions for recovery of losses due to incorrect refunds. It permits deductions for recovery of losses sustained by a railway administration on account of any rebates or refunds incorrectly granted by the employed person where such loss is directly attributable to his neglect or his default. Deductions for Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. It permits deductions made with the written authorization of the employed person for contribution to the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund or to such other fund as the central government may by notification in the official gazette specify. Deductions for contributions to any insurance scheme. Provides that deductions for contributions to any insurance scheme framed by the central government for the benefit of its employees.